Mr. Manno.
Mr. Chairman and members of the Select Committee, I'm pleased to represent the Department of Transportation and participate in your joint inquiry into the performance of the intelligence community concerning the events of September 11, 2001, the terrorist attacks against the United States. My full statement addresses the questions posed in your letter of invitation, and I would respectfully request that it be entered into the record. I would also like to verbally summarize the points made in my presentation.
Mr. Manno, your statement, as well as the statements that have been submitted by all the members of the panel, will be part of the record of our hearing.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I believe a component of your inquiry is to look at the policies and procedures in place at the Department to receive and act on intelligence information from the intelligence community and law enforcement organizations concerning terrorism. It is helpful to look at this issue first in terms of how terrorism intelligence flows from the producer agencies of the intelligence community to the Department of Transportation, the Federal Aviation Administration, and the Transportation Security Administration. The second part of the process concerns how the information from the intelligence community is passed to the private sector, as well as state and local law enforcement agencies. The mechanisms for passing information by the intelligence community to DOT are well established. DOT identifies and updates its intelligence needs in detailed statements of intelligence interest. The producer agencies use these to determine which products DOT may receive. To help ensure that the intelligence community agencies share pertinent intelligence with the Department, the Aviation Security Improvement Act of 1990 required, quote, the agency of the intelligence community to ensure that intelligence reports concerning international terrorism are made available to the Department of Transportation and the Federal Aviation Administration, end quote. The agencies responsible for producing most of the intelligence that we receive are the CIA, the Department of State, FBI, NSA, and DIA. In addition, the Department is active in a number of national counterterrorism and law enforcement community efforts by virtue of its relationship with these agencies. A full-time liaison officer from CIA is posted to the Secretary's Office of Intelligence and Security, and that office established a part-time liaison position at FBI. FAA also has provided a liaison officer to the National Infrastructure Protection Center, the NIPIC, at FBI. TSA's Transportation Security Intelligence Service maintains full-time liaison officers at the FBI headquarters in the newly created National Joint Terrorism Task Force, the CIA's Counterterrorism Center, the State Department Office of Intelligence and Threat Analysis. We also plan to post liaison officers in the near future at NSA and DIA, as well as the Office of Homeland Security. Liaison initiatives are also underway to assign TSA personnel to FBI Joint Terrorism Task Forces throughout the country. TSA is currently identifying which task forces around the country would be best suited for TSA participation. The TSIS officers detailed to the State Department, CIA, and the FBI meet the same high personal and professional standards as the regular employees of these agencies. Accordingly, they are fully integrated into these agencies and have the same access and restrictions as the agency's own employees based on the need-to-know principle and the requirement to protect intelligence and law enforcement sources and methods. Historically, where the Department has had issues with this arrangement is in the definitions used by these agencies as to what constitutes need-to-know. For example, specific threat information may be routinely shared, whereas domestically acquired non-threat information, such as terrorist group presence and capabilities needed to evaluate threat information, is provided less often because it is considered investigative material rather than intelligence. Unlike CIA, DOD, and the State Department, the FBI has not historically considered itself an intelligence production agency due to the statutory restrictions on the dissemination of information it collects in its investigative role. The Department has experienced no significant intelligence sharing problems with State or DOD. With respect to CIA, those few times where we have had problems, those resulted from unfamiliarity on the part of CIA personnel with our mission, roles, and responsibilities. On a daily basis, the Department receives a steady stream of raw reporting and finished intelligence from State Department, CIA, and DoD. This flow includes items that are sent electronically, hard copy products received via courier and cables, and finished intelligence that we can access via community databases. From this inflow, the analysts on our intelligence watch identify on the average of 1 or 200 cables, reports, hard copy products, faxes, and emails each day that merit a closer review by us. Up to now, we have not received a similar daily flow of raw reports and finished intelligence from FBI. We have received, however, summary general intelligence on terrorist groups in the U.S. and an assessment on the threat these groups pose to domestic airports and air carriers. In addition, we occasionally receive cables regarding potential threats to transportation or a response to a detailed question or request for assessment that we may have posed through our liaison officers assigned there. Like other federal agencies, we also receive the FBI's classified terrorist threat warning notices, other alerts, and the FBI's annual summary report of terrorism in the United States. We expect, however, that the flow of raw background reporting from FBI will increase in the future. The USA Patriot Act of 2001 authorized the sharing of criminal investigative information with other federal agencies in matters of foreign intelligence and counterintelligence, amending previous laws that prohibited the FBI from sharing grand jury and FISA information. So we think that this will be helpful. The process of getting intelligence from the Department into the hands of those that need it at the operational level, both state and local law enforcement and the affected parties in the private sector, has been accomplished primarily through the preparation and issuance of written notifications, such as information circulars and security directives. As appropriate, strategic assessments of the terrorist threat are also disseminated to provide a general overview of the threat environment. Law enforcement officers responsible for security at airports have access to our notices, which are transmitted to them via the Airport Law Enforcement Agencies Network, or ALEAN. This information is provided as a sensitive security information, which in most cases consists of a declassified version of originally classified information. These declassified versions are prepared with the assistance and cooperation of the originating agencies. Regulated entities, such as air carriers and airports, receive the notices directly. In the case of security directives, the threat information is coupled with mandatory security countermeasures that the air carriers and airport authorities must carry out. For example, watch-listed names are provided to airlines via this process. The information is available to individual airline check-in agents in either manual or automated form, depending on the specific airline. In addition to communicating threat information concerning aviation security via written notices, TSA's 24-hour intelligence watch alerts industry representatives to events of potential interest that would not necessarily result in the issuance of written notification. The watch sometimes relays pertinent information that cannot be declassified to properly cleared industry representatives. Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, we at the Department of Transportation recognize the significance of your efforts on behalf of the American people, and we appreciate the opportunity to participate in these proceedings. I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, and thank you very much, Mr.